Okay, so parallel means the slopes are the what? Same. Perpendicular, you have to, it's called a negative reciprocal, which means that you do what? Flip it and change the signs. Okay, so those two pieces of information, I would recommend writing in your spiral. So number one, so you have y equals, so what's my slope for the first equation? 3 over 4. What's the slope on the second equation?
3 over 4.
So therefore they are
Parallel.
parallel. They're the same. So when you have y equals mx plus b, as long as it's solved for y, you are given the slope. Number 2, are they the same or are they negative reciprocals of each other? What's the slope for, what's in front of x? What kind of 1? Negative 1, and the second one is negative 3. So they're not the same. Are they the negative reciprocal of each other? No. So therefore it is neither. Now 1 is a neat number, negative 1. So negative 1, the reciprocal of 1 is 1. So, and when you change the sign, it would be a positive 1. So to be perpendicular to negative 1, you end up with just 1. And that's the only number you can flip and have the same number. And so perpendicular to negative 3 would be positive 1/3. Okay, number 3. Parallel, perpendicular, or neither?
Perpendicular.
Perpendicular. So you're going to take the negative 5 over 3, you're going to flip it and change the sign. So that is perpendicular. So 4, 5, and 6 I added. So you may or may not see problems like that on Get More Math, but you could see it somewhere else. So number 4, you have y equals 4 and x equals 6. What type of lines are those? And back row, turn your computers around. Face them towards me. You have plenty of time to work. So y equals 4. What kind of line is that? I heard it. You're correct. Horizontal. So y equals 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. You're gonna have a horizontal line, and then you have x equals what? 6. What kind of line is that gonna be? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Vertical. So a horizontal and vertical line, which would be like our ceilings and walls, should meet at what kind of angle? A 90, which makes them perpendicular. Perpendicular. Okay, let's back up one. I just want to show you number 3. And let's see. I was doing another problem. Let me type number 3 in real quick. I want to show you what your calculator can do. X plus 3 and 3/5 x plus 8. So you have in Zoom standard, number 6 is what we normally use, but Zoom square will take your screen and make it look square. So that is number 5. So if you zoom square, you'll be able to see the right angle. So if you put the same equation in your calculator and your Zoom is on standard, it's not going to quite look square. Not going to quite look like a right angle. So if you want to see if it is perpendicular and you want to look at it, then you need a zoom square. Because is our screen square? No, so it changes the window to not negative 10, 10, but negative 16, almost 0.1, and positive 16 to make it appear to be square. Okay, number 5. What could an equation be for a line that is parallel to x equals -6? If it's parallel, that means the slopes are the same. What's the slope of that line? I heard stuff. I just can't distinguish what y'all said. That's not the slope. So this is x equals +6. What kind of line is that? Vertical. What's the slope of a vertical line? Undefined. Very good. Undefined. And horizontal is 0. So if we're looking for a line that is also undefined, is it going to be y equals something or x equals something? If it's parallel, they have to be the same. X. So x equals any number other than -6. Because if it was -6, it would be the same line. So what could be an equation for a line that is perpendicular to y equals 3? That would be parallel. Parallel would be y equals something. So perpendicular is going to be like number 4. So x equals anything. X equals 3. Any vertical line is going to be perpendicular to a horizontal line. Okay. So this is the lesson, except for honors, that I'm pushing out today. And then tomorrow I'm going to push out this lesson. So tomorrow and Monday we're doing just points, no lecture. So number 1. First off, you need to skim the next sentence, and is it parallel or perpendicular? Parallel. So if it's parallel, that means the slope is going to be what? The same.
We should define, or
Ma'am?
did you just say we're done? We should define, or?
No, we're flipping it over and we're doing the other side. We're on number 1. Okay, so a line has this equation. So we need to find the slope. If we want it to be parallel, it needs to be the same. So what do we have to do to that equation to find the slope? Exactly. So y equals mx plus b, and then you have y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So we're going to move the x over. So opposite of a positive x is a negative x. Now what? Divide by 8. Very good. And everything. So my m is negative. The 8 doesn't jump to the top. What's on top? No. 1. Very good. 1. X is next to it. X is on top, but we're looking for the slope. So you have 2 choices of formulas. You have the point slope formula or y equals mx plus b. Which one do y'all want to start with? Okay. So the disadvantage with that one is when you get done, you're not done. You still have to write your equation. So our equation is going to start off as y equals negative 1/8 x, and then I need to find my b. So I'm going to show you on paper, that way we're not squeezing it in. What's my y value? It's x then y. So your -3 is your y value. So y equals, so -3 equals negative 1/8, and our x is 8 plus b. Now what? Multiply. So 8 divided by 8 is what? Not 0. They cancel out and they equal 1. So, and if you can't do that in your head, what can do it? Calculator. So the 8's cancel, so you end up with -1. So -3 equals -1 plus b. Now what? Solve it for b. So what do we have to do? Add the 1. Very good. Opposite of -1 is a +1. And so b equals, what is -3 plus 1? -2. So -2. And that's your answer. So how do you check your answer without my tablet? Go to y equals and type your equation in, -1 divided by 8, x minus 2, and I'm going to go to 8. That point needs to be there. If it's not, I've done something wrong, and it's there. Because there's lots of little steps. Matter of fact, I checked one earlier, and I added incorrectly. Okay, number 2. That one starts off a lot easier because it gives you the slope, right? There's my slope. And we're looking for parallel. So that means we don't change it. So what are the other methods to be able to find the equation? One, you could graph this point on a piece of graph paper and then use the slope to go down 7/6 until you, down 7/6 until you get to 0 when y equals 0. You could extend your table because the change of y would be going down 7 or up 7, and then the x would be change of 6, or use one of the 2 equations. So can we use the other equation and then I'll let y'all choose from there? Okay, so in the other equation, y1 and x1 and m is where you're going to input your numbers. So y minus, our y value is 5, and equals our m, which is -7/6, x minus our x value, which is 24. So the only trick on that formula is when you input a negative number, it turns into a positive. So we need to distribute. -7 x times x is just putting them next to each other. Negative times negative is a positive. So what is 24 divided by 6? 4, and 4 times 7 is 28. Or you could have gone in your calculator and did -7 divided by 6 times -24, and you get the +28. And then, this is where I made a mistake last time. The opposite of subtracting is adding, and when I added incorrectly. I got 32. So, y equals -7/6x. What is 28 plus 5? And it's not 32. 33. So when I went to y equals, I did not have my point. So -7 divided by 6, x plus 33, and then go to your table, look for 24, and 24 and 5 should be in there. If it's not, you've done something wrong. So again, the difference between alpha x and not is I have decimals, which is easier for me to find my whole numbers or integers. Okay, what are the next two? What type are they? Perpendicular. So what do we have to do to the slopes? Flip them and change the signs. So if my m is negative 1 over 3, my perpendicular m, is it going to be negative? No, it's going to be positive what? Positive 3. Very good. And so which formula? Point slope or slope intercept? Okay. Maddie, what's the airline? Make it go up. Thank you. My feet are freezing. Okay, so y equals mx plus b. So my y is what? Negative 9. Let's see if we can do it on here. So we have y is negative 9. So negative 9 equals my m, which is 3, times x, which is 9, plus b. So 3 times 9 is 27. Now what? Yeah, subtract 27 on both sides. When the signs are the same, you add and keep the sign. So b equals negative 36. So am I done? No, I need to write my equation. So y equals 3x minus 36. So this is where the Zoom standard comes in. You have negative 1 divided by 3, x minus 8, and 3x minus 36. So, or actually Zoom square. So I can visually see it's kind of over here on the corner that it makes a perpendicular. And I'm going to go to positive 9. And I should have 9 and negative 9. My second equation was red. So, and that, see a little bit bigger, that point's in there. And there's my graph. Okay, number 4. What's my perpendicular slope? Flip it and change the sign. So if 7 was on the bottom, it's now going to be on the top, and over 2. It was negative and now it's going to be positive. And same formula, or you want to go back to point slope? Same formula. So when we get done, we're going to have y equals our m, which is now going to be 7/2 x, and then we just need to add the b. So what's my y value? 10. So of course it goes x then y. So 10 equals my m times my x plus b. Okay, let me give you a minute, find b. So multiply, then subtract. So what'd y'all get? Very good. 8 divided by 2 is 4, and 4 times 7 is 28. And so the opposite of a positive 28 is a negative. And yes, you end up with negative 18. Okay. So, good news. We are done with the lecture, and so that's parallel and perpendicular.